do you have left?
I've got 30 seconds.
All right, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds, sir, because, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you another 30-second leeway because of this interruption and from one of the commissioners just asking a question. Okay, so you got another minute.
All right, well, I'll wrap it up here.
All right, I appreciate that, sir.
And I would just like to say, you know what I mean? First time I talked here was a year ago, or 2 years ago in the summer. Found out that Hackle and Smith are having a political contest a week after I get back to town. Well, it's time to throw somebody under the bus. How many people other audits are books? How many other books are cooked around here? I think Clinton Township and that pretty much proved all of that. Now I'm sitting here telling you that I got kidnapped by a psychopath who tried to steal all of my money and successfully did it. That y'all don't have a track of where my money went that he stole from me, and that nobody could tell me where the $3,000 payment to Prison Transport Service that paid to have me extradited, whether it came from a slush fund, a real fund, or what. These are all things that are going to have to be. These are all things that are going to be.
How many? Hold on. How many seconds he's got left?
5 seconds.
Okay, wrap it up, sir, in 5 seconds, please.
Please don't get a police or fireman killed because they have lack of resources because corrupt psychopaths are stealing the money for their personal gain.
Okay. Thank you. Next person wish to speak. We're going to try to keep it on the items on the agenda, please.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Mary Ann McEnone. I live in Sterling Heights, and I'm speaking on agenda number 7.
Thank you.
And I'm just calling about my concern for the tax. I know it's 42 cents per month, but with considering everything that is happening right now with everyone's finances, I think it might be judicial if you just put this on hold for a while. So I just wanted to say that's my piece.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You take that into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Next person, public participation.
Sean Cody from Utica.
Hello, Sean. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Sean Cody. I'm the chief with the Utica Police Department and president of the Macomb County Association of Chiefs of Police. And I'd like to address the 911 surcharge we have listed on the agenda under number 8. I hope I have that number correct. The committee.
It's actually 7, but that's okay.
Okay. The committee should have received some notification from the Macomb Chiefs Association, who have unanimously supported the 911 surcharge, the 42 cents per month per device. Based on that, you're looking at a little over $5 a year per device. This surcharge will ensure that the county and municipal public safety answering points are keeping pace with next generation technologies. They'll provide the best possible service to our residents at the most critical times. Rising costs and raising costs on services is never popular. I understand that. But how do you put a price on the safety of the public? Everything that takes place in a first responders level does so through a dispatch center. Our most recent example of that is our COVID situation. The number of incidents and calls for help that come through our dispatch center, especially under these critical times, obviously every call is critical. And we just like to make sure that the resources are there to make sure that our equipment is up to date and we can get them the best services possible. At this time, it appears that Macomb County is one of the few, if not the only, that's not implementing such a surcharge for their public safety answering points. On behalf of the organization in that, I would just like the committee members to consider when they're looking at this surcharge to think of their own families, loved ones, when they think about the times in need that they need to contact an emergency services of any kind. And I'd just like to thank you again for all your consideration. I know it's difficult. I see a lot of opposition for these things, but understand the importance at our level and what it does for us. And when you think about what services you need and when you need them, anytime you call 911 is probably the most critical time. So on behalf of the Macomb Chiefs Association, I would like to believe that we have your full support in this matter. And I want to thank you for your consideration. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Chief. Stay
Yeah.
safe out there, and thank you for your service. Okay, it looks like I have. I got to do this here. I got an Ed Miller that would like to talk. We're trying to do our best to cue these things. So, Mr. Miller, if you get a chance, *6 yourself and go ahead. The floor is yours. Just state your name and where you live.
Hi, Commissioner Leonetti. Can you hear me all right?
I sure can.
Okay, great. I'm Ed Miller, Assistant Fire Chief, Sterling Heights Fire, and also the President of Macomb County Fire Chiefs Association. And calling and requesting your support for the surcharge for the mobile use. The 42 cents a month per device is really a low cost to ensure that we keep a high quality communication system in Macomb County. Any of our residents depend on this link. This is their first point of contact for any type of situation they may be involved with. And the county's done a great job handling the financial resources available. What we can't control are the costs that are associated with maintaining the high quality equipment. Everything goes up in business. This morning alone, a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons was 40 cents more, and we don't think at all about that. We just pay it. But 42 cents a month, everybody's willing to stomp the ground that this is outrageous. $5 a year protects everybody in the county. It shares the cost amongst anybody that can afford a cell phone. And it makes it more reasonable to support our communication systems instead of pushing it down to the community level. Because again, as things break, the costs go up. Where are the funds going to come from? These point of communication systems have to get the money somewhere, and it's going to be pushed to the local municipalities, which will end up having to pay the bill. This is a way to cover everybody in the county, and it works really well. It's a great shared resource, and it helps sustain a really robust communication system. So we ask for your support as the Macomb County Fire Chiefs Association. As a resident of Sterling Heights, I'm asking for your support so that I know that if I have to call 911, the system's going to work and somebody will be there that'll be trained and able to get me the help that I need. So thank you for your time, and I hope that we can look forward to your support on this.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you for your service out there.
Thank you.
Next on the queue, Patty, do you want to text me? There's a name I saw it. I've got so many texts coming through here. I'm trying to pay attention to the people speaking. Can you text me the name of the person that was queued up next? Anybody? Well, oh wait, hold on. I got a text. Let me see here. We're working the system out. Okay, we'll get you in a second. Catherine Schmelzer. Catherine, go ahead. I'm going to have you *6, your phone, and the floor is yours. Just state your name and where you live. And you got 5 minutes. Kathy, are you there? Kathy, I'm going to give you a couple seconds here. I'll give you some instructions. You're going to hit *6 on your phone. That'll unmute you. And just state your name and your city. And you got 5 minutes on the floor. If I don't hear from you in about 10 seconds, Kathy, I'm going to just bump you down the queue. And I'm going to get this next person here, which is a Nancy Tissio. One more second for Kathy. Kathy, you there? *6. The floor is yours. You can talk. Okay, Kathy, we're not going to abandon you. We're going to go with Miss Tissio. Miss Tissio, are you there? Miss Tissio? I hope I'm saying your last name right. You're gonna hit *6 on your phone. Just announce your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes on the floor to talk about anything on the agenda. Miss Tissio? Miss Tissio? Okay, we're going to do the same thing we did for Miss Schmelzer. We're going to put you down the queue. We're going to go to the next person, Barbara Zinner. Miss Zinner, are you there? Hi, is it Barbara? Who I can barely. Who's talking? Because I can barely hear you. You got to state your name and your city, please. If you're Barbara Zinner, you're on the queue right now. Yeah, let's see here. Barbara Zinner, are you there? Okay, we're going to go to Scott Adkins. Again, all you folks will have a chance, but try to be here so we can, when we call on you in the queue, you're ready to go. Mr. Adkins, are you there? Mr. Adkins, *6 will unmute you, and then you have 5 minutes on the floor after you state your name and your city. Mr. Adkins? Oh, here we go. *6. He may have hung up. Let me see who I got next. Okay, I got something here that somebody named, well, Catherine Schmelzer had written a statement to be taken into consideration. They would like me to, or have a member to read it into the record. I can't do that. Public participation, we can note it. We can put it in as a file and receive, I believe, but I can't read it at public participation because I really can't be involved in public participation. That's from Mr. Kardash. Paul, do you want to speak? Mr. Kardash, do you want to speak? I have you on the queue, it looks like. If you do, just unmute yourself and state your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes to talk. Hello? Hi.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
Barb
Barb?
Barb Zinner. Sorry.
Hey, Barb, how you doing? Go ahead.
Good. How are you?
State your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes on the floor for an agenda item.
Barbara Zinner, Harrison Township. Agenda 7. I understand that the tax for the phones, it isn't that, I don't think that's a tremendous amount of money, of course. I think people have mentioned to me that they're part of the concern is what starts out as a low amount of money, and then where does it end up? And of course, we want to keep the 911 people and anybody in service. We want to keep them safe, and they have needs, and they're out there taking care of people. It's an important job. That's one thing, and I agree with the man who was in the red shirt, watching the money, watching for concerns in the money for the government. That is a great concern for any number of situations. So there are a couple other things, and ladies and gentlemen have brought up several concerns. And thank you for the time. Have a great
Thank you, Barb. You take care. Stay safe and healthy with your family, okay?
You too. Thank you.
All righty. Next, I have Scott Adkins, who was on the queue earlier. It appears he's back now by phone. Mr. Adkins, go ahead. *6 to unmute yourself. Just state your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Calling in regards to item number 7, Scott Adkins, City of Roseville. Just asking for consideration for approval of the 911 surcharge as presented on your agenda today. The importance of 911 is certainly always been present, but even more present today. I just wanted to speak for a moment that early in my career, I actually was a 911 operator. And if you've never made a call to 911, and certainly if you've never been on the other end to receive a call, it is a different world. This is certainly something that's absolutely important for all of our communities. The things that we've been able to do as 911 operators, which I did a long time ago, but it's still done today, is so important. Just that moment of telling someone how to perform CPR on a loved one, to evacuate a burning structure, to actually deliver a baby over the telephone. These are things that are so important. But the cost of this, I think, is something that gets so lost in between folks thinking of this more as a tax. But this is actually an important life-saving amount. And when you look and break it down at 42 cents per month per device, this is actually less than one small cup of coffee at Tim Hortons. On the scale of over a year, $5.04 per device for a year, it's less than going and buying a hot and ready pizza at Little Caesars. So I just ask for consideration based upon the importance countywide in the impact for this. And again, Scott Adkins from the City of Roseville. I also want to note that the Roseville City Council has gone on record supporting this, as well as many other municipalities, because we know the importance of public safety. And as one of the chiefs has mentioned, it starts with that first 911 call. So I thank you for your time and consideration and allowing me to speak today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So as indicated, we're going to try to take care of people on the phone first. I don't know if there's anybody on the phone still there. We're going to queue you up. You just have to hit *6 to unmute yourself, and then
I'm
we'll
here.
begin. Somebody on the phone here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, sir. State your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes.
Yes. My name is Rick Thompson. I'm from Centerline, Michigan. I am calling about the first responders, number 7. I would like to ask everyone's support in this matter for the first responders. You know, the cannabis community, as I am the director of NORML, the leader of a prestigious referral service for lawyers nationwide. Now, I would implore you to understand the ramifications of the drug war upon society from the stance of a first responder. I have spoke with many people from the LEAP organization, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, strong advocates against policing for profit. There must be a balance where the public is willfully taxed for protections, services, and a balance from criminal conduct, continuing criminal enterprises. There must be a distinction, a distinct point. It's a part of the social contract. With that being said, preserve the social contract, enforce the laws, tax the people, not the businesses, and give the police all the money they need. I think everyone can agree. After the coronavirus and all the smoke clears, there's going to be hundreds of indictments.
Crystal,
I
how much time?
better not-
Crystal, how much time? Oh, hold on. I just want to know how much time he has. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were done. Sorry.
I got 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Give him an extra 10 seconds for my interruption.
Yeah, I pause it when I give you the count. So I'll start it back when he starts back.
Okay. Got to keep talking, sir. If you stay paused, then I don't know if you're still there or not, you know?
Now, the police need the money to attack the people. The firemen need the money to save the people. It's as simple as that. Now, raid the prosecutor, conduct a county-wide forensic audit, and give all the money to the first responders. Use that to adjust and compensate for the tax base. And that's all I think I have to say, except for prosecute Eric Smith to the fullest. And let me know if you need any weed.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Stay safe and healthy out there.
Hey, Chair, before you call the next person, it's Veronica. I think that was the same person. I think he spoke twice because he was on camera and he appeared to be doing something there.
All right.
So
we're gonna
just a
try
heads
to
up.
screen for that kind of stuff. I'm gonna try to see if staff can screen for that stuff. I started to kind of recognize the voice there at the end. So look, folks, this is public participation. This is a time for the citizens of this county to express their opinions, and we take that into consideration in the decisions we make here. So let's not use this as some kind of a joke, okay? Give everybody their 5 minutes. That's what we're here to do. Now, is there anybody else by phone? Because the phone's a little bit more tricky. Anybody by phone here that would like to talk? If staff sees somebody from staff, tell me, is there anybody by phone standing by, if anybody knows? Okay, if you're not on phone, then you're going to be in this system here. And that's fine. If you're in the system, then you're going to hit the mute button. You'll see it on your touch screen and go ahead and speak. So I don't really know who's next on the queue, but if somebody would like to talk, just unmute the button here on this. Okay, here we go. We got somebody. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Mike Holland. I am the fire chief for Roseville Fire Department, as well as the chair for Sarita Dispatch.
Okay, Mike.
I'm
5 minutes.
All right, I'm going to try to not take very much time out of respect for all of you. I just wanted to the 911 dispatch. Our 911 dispatch 42-second fee, which is number 7 on the agenda. And I wanted to speak first to say that dispatch is incredibly important for all of our first responders. Indeed, they are the first responders. In this COVID situation, they have been directly responsible for protecting all of my firefighter paramedics in Roseville, and it is a critical and crucial structure that we have that is needed within Macomb County. Currently, what we hope to utilize that fee for is to update any systems and services we have. Anyone who currently owns a cell phone or owns a computer also understands how quickly technology changes. And we're hoping to utilize these funds to continue to maintain and improve our technology within all of Macomb County. For those of you who are looking at this tax as a negative, I would just like to suggest a couple things to you. First, it is a great opportunity because this tax is clearly identified for an exacting purpose, which is very clear for all citizens then to understand where that money is going. And it is clearly identified for a very, very important service. This service helps all the dispatch centers. It helps police, fire, and EMS. So any crucial or 911 service that you were to use as a citizen, this directly affects each and every one of those things. As you might imagine, firefighters, police officers, they don't know when somebody needs help or assistance. They depend upon a good dispatch center in order to do that. As technology is changing, so must the dispatch center. And the only way those dispatch centers can change and improve is through the enhancement of technology. And the only way to get that is to be able to have funds to pay for that. So I just want to encourage all of the commissioners to please support this very, very important 42-cent charge. It is not an awful lot to ask for a great deal of service. Thank you all very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next person, we're going to do it through this application here. So if you want to speak, just unmute and state your name and your city, and you got 5 minutes. Anybody else for public participation? Going to call public participation or any item on this agenda. Anybody would like to speak on it, you have 5 minutes. You simply have to unmute here through this application and state your name and your city, and you have 5 minutes on the floor for us.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, Paul Myzinski from the city of Centerline.
Go ahead.
How are you doing today, sir?
Go ahead.
This 911 program, this small surcharge is very important to every 911 PSAP in the county. For what little that we ask for, provides such a great service for the community. And you never know when you need it. And as quickly as technology changes, we have to be at the cutting edge of this. This service allows us to get the equipment and the training that we need for all our people so that we can give better service to the residents of the city and for the county in Macomb. This is the one tax that each resident gets to see the benefit of, because when they need it, it will be there. So this is very important, and I really would appreciate it and encourage all members to vote for this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, Nancy Tessio from earlier is back on the queue. Nancy, if you're there, go ahead.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. Yep. Thank you for taking our calls and hearing our voices. And just like a few of the other people that called in, first I heard of this was this morning, which is really annoying to me. It's kind of like it was being snuck in. And there is a lot of misappropriations in the funds that the police department and the fire department and the city government get. There is a lot of crooked dealings going on and money being used to in nefarious ways. And it's not fair to propose a resolution, this resolution 7, and increase our taxes. If you were a family of 4 and you each had 2 devices, and for sure it starts 42 cents, but the limit could go to $3, and that'll happen quicker than you think. And they could end up spending $172 a year. You talk about it being a small price to pay. I say sharpen your pencils in the budget that you have, that you're working with now. Sharpen your pencils and keep up with technology. Why do we have to sharpen your pencils? Why do we have to fund your technology when you need to budget for that? And it's just sneaky tactics by Hackle to put this on a resolution 3 o'clock in the middle of a pandemic, when people can't even, people are out of work. They can't even afford their regular cell phone bill. It's just the wrong timing. The timing's off, and it's nefarious as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I hear the policeman. My father's a policeman. I hear all that. They're on here speaking their voice, but honestly, I hope you don't consider their voices more important than our voices. And I encourage you to all vote no on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Stay safe and healthy. Okay.
Yeah, you too. All right, bye-bye.
Yep. Next on the queue, who do we got here? Anybody on the app want to unmute and speak? Go ahead. Public participation, you have 5 minutes. If you would like to talk about any item on the agenda here today, you just have to simply unmute on this app, state your name and your city. You got 5 minutes on the floor. Anybody else? All right, so I'm going to do a countdown here. If I don't hear from anybody else for public participation, either by phone or by this app here, I'm going to call it out 3 more times, then we're going to move on with this meeting. So public participation going on. All right, who do we got?
Okay, my name's Bob. I'm in Roseville.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
I'm a little concerned about all these COVID deaths being mislabeled as COVID deaths.
Well, this got to be about the agenda. Just make sure it's about the agenda item. I don't mean to cut you off, but if you're going to get 5 minutes on our floor, it's for something that's on the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did not see it was on the agenda. I apologize.
Okay.
Good day.
Okay. Did you still want to talk about something on the agenda? Because you're more than welcome to do that.
Like I said, I don't know what's on the agenda. I just got a message to be here and listen.
Well, we've got, to be fair to you, we've got the county clerk's going to talk about his annual report. We've got a COVID license agreement with the Meals on Wheels. We got an information exchange with Social Security to assess state records online. We got a revised Macomb County remonumentation plan. We got a grant from the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs for a remonumentation program. We got an appointment to have a grant administrator, Brian Burdak. Stuff doesn't
I'll tell you what, I'll be well more informed on the next meet call. How's that?
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go again. We're going to go with public participation for any item on the agenda. I'm going to go once. I'm going to go twice. Anybody wants to speak? Twice. I'm going to go third time now. This is the third and last time. Anybody want to talk about any item on the agenda for public participation? If you do, please unmute your app. If I don't hear from anybody within 10 seconds, we're going to move on. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Hey, wait a second. Wait a second. Is there going to be a public comment just for general comment?
Yes. Yes, it's at the end of the meeting. All right. 3.
I have a question.
Yes.
When will we know? Will we know who voted what? Yay or nay? And when will we know?
I'm sure you'll know today. The votes are all recorded. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Public participation is closed. We're going to move on now to presentations. I want to thank everybody for their patience, and I want to thank everybody for their comments. First presentation we have is from our county clerk, Fred Miller. Fred, you got an annual report you want to give us? Come on up. The floor is yours.
Hi there, Mr. Chair, committee members. Thank you for having me again. It's always a great pleasure to be in a position to be able to brag about the great work that's being done at the county clerk's office by the 91 staff members who are part of our team. And thanks for the opportunity. Wanted to share this with you. I recognize you got a long agenda, so I won't belabor this, but I just want to touch on a couple of things and throw out a couple of highlights. This document represents a lot of the work that we've done in calendar year 2019. And I want to draw a distinction between the volume metrics that are in there as well as the performance metrics. Now the volume metrics, we'll talk about the volume of work that's done in terms of the in-person customers, of which we had 102,000 last year. Or the online interactions that we had, which were approximately 530,000 last year. But also the performance metrics, which kind of show at what high level your county employees work and to deliver great public services to the people of Macomb. I'm proud to say that our lobby wait times are down. We're down throughout 2019 in all of our 3 buildings. We started to benchmark different performance metrics, which had never been done before, so that we can work to improve where we need to improve. All that's included in our annual report. And I want to in particular draw your attention to the item about phone calls, because a lot of what we've had to do over the last year is kind of bring about a culture change at the clerk's office. And in one of our buildings, it had not been the practice to regularly answer the phone. Now, that's not to say that people were sitting around doing nothing. They're all very busy, but sometimes the phone would be left to as a secondary response, which equated to about 50% of the phone being answered about 50% of the time. I'm proud to say that through meticulous work of our supervisors, everybody on our team pitching in, as well as support from a new phone system, we're able to raise that to 93% of the phone calls coming in are answered every single day. And again, that's apart from all the other work that's being done. It just goes to show how we're trying to put the customer at the center of everything that we do. And I want to just leave you with this. The people that work for you in the clerk's office, so your county employees, are absolutely fantastic. And the current environment is kind of a great example of that. On Monday, March 16th was our last day where we had the public in our buildings. By Friday of that week, almost six weeks ago, we sent our teams home to shelter in place and to protect their health, protect the health of the public. That was on a Friday the 20th. By Monday the 23rd, our team had worked to set up the virtual clerk's office, which allows incoming questions and inquiries from the public in the form of voicemails that get sent to emails, as well as a portal online that allows people to continue to get services, to continue to get information. So not only do we have these employees who are at home working remotely, but we've figured out a way that they're not just sitting at home doing nothing, but they're continuing to serve the public. I'm proud to say that as of this moment, through that virtual clerks portal, we have responded to 2,791 Macomb County citizens with questions and service requests over those, as we're almost to 5 weeks. So I'm incredibly proud about the high level that our county employees, that the people in the clerks and register of deeds offices are functioning. Some of that's encapsulated in the annual report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Fred. Let me I have to boot up my screen and see if we have any detailed items or details here. Okay, it looks like we got Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Romano, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Am I on?
You are
Chair, am I on?
You are on. Yes, you
Thank
are.
you. Chair, I just want to mention this. You know, our county clerk has been in this position now and through some very perilous times. And I just want to say that Mr. Miller, Fred Miller, our county clerk, has been doing outstanding service for the residents. I have met with him numerous times over numerous places in Sterling Heights, and he's always been right on the ball. Fred, I compliment you and I compliment your staff for doing such a great job. That's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's a great team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romano.
Mr. Chair, this is Joel. I think we should move to receive and file the report.
Got a motion on the floor to receive and file is from Commissioner Drollet. Is there support?
Support from Commissioner Romano.
Okay. Motion's been made. Please vote. Well, we don't even have to vote on that. It's been received and oh, we do. Sorry. Yes.
I'm trying to cut off this. I wasn't trying to cut off discussion. I just thought we needed a motion on the floor to continue it. So sorry.
There wasn't any other commissioners on there, Commissioner Drollet, so you're okay.
That motion passed 13-0.
Thank you, Fred. You stay safe, you and your family out there. Appreciate your report. Okay, next on the agenda now, we're going to move on to department recommendations. We're going to start off with number 6A, which is a COVID license agreement, City of Mount Clemens for the Meals on Wheels distribution site. Come on up and speak. Who's speaking on this? I don't know. They didn't give me that on the agenda.
Commissioner Leonetti,
Oh, hey,
speaking
Vicki.
over. Hi, how are you?
Vicki. Good to see you. Go ahead.
Good. This is a license agreement we entered into with the City of Mount Clemens to be able to use their farmers market building and parking lot to be able to deliver meals to the public. We've been at that site now for a few weeks, and what we have there is a refrigerated truck. We had to do this because we can't go to the normal congregate care sites where people who normally get Meals on Wheels can come and have their meal there. So this was a way to still reach those people, knowing that they do still need some sort of food. And Mount Clemens graciously entered into this agreement. They asked for a written agreement to put into place, and that's what you have before you. The site is open Monday through Friday, essentially from 10 to 1 p.m. We intend to continue that until further notice. We have a similar site at the City of Warren on a City of Warren piece of property. They did not ask for an agreement, but between those two sites, we are serving over 400 meals a day to some of our most vulnerable populations. So it was a very good agreement that we reached with the City of Mount Clemens and still be able to serve our residents.
I don't see any commissioners on the queue here. Anybody want to talk to Vicki about this? Well, I think this one's going to be easy, Vicki.
Yep.
All righty.
Thanks.
I need a motion. Anybody?
Motion to approve.
By Commissioner Romano regarding license.
Support
Go ahead.
Ducey.
Progress support.
Moved by Romano, supported by Duge. Please vote.
I was just curious to know if we got to speak on these items.
Mr. Olson, you don't. This is strictly commission stuff now and people who are slated to speak on the agenda item. You get to talk at public participation at the end.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on now to item 6B, which is information exchange agreement. This is with Social Security Administration, and this is access to state records. Come on up, whoever's speaking on this item.
Hi there, Commissioner Leonetti. It's Fred Miller.
Go ahead.
So this is an agreement that has existed with the Social Security Administration for about 10 years. It allows the officials there at that federal agency to access our birth records, to view only the name and date of birth. They use this to verify new individuals who are applying for Social Security numbers. We don't receive any money for this, but we do control their access. No money's exchanged. And it really has supplanted a system where they would have to call staff and have the staff do the searches for them. So it's just to kind of continue to keep us working together with the Social Security Administration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miller. Any commissioners want to speak on this item? I don't see anybody on the queue. So
If not,
what we're going to do is look for
Chairman,
motions. Yep.
Commissioner Hall makes the motion to approve.
Motion by Hall, looking for a second.
Don Brown.
Seconded by Don Brown. Please vote. Okay. Thanks, Fred. Stick around, Fred. I think you're on the next couple.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Keys. Okay, next item is the revised Macomb County remonumentation plan.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve items C through H.
C through H. There's a motion by Commissioner Duge to approve C through H. Is there support for that motion?
Support by Lucido.
Supported by Lucido. Please vote. C through H.
Then we want to hear from Fred at all first.
I don't know. I think we all know what this is, but if anybody does want to speak before we vote on it, that's fine. Does anybody do a sound off? The commissioners want to hear Fred's report. I think we're all pretty familiar with this program. Some of us have opinions, but we're all familiar with this program. Anybody? We'll do like I did with the public. Okay. Once, twice, thrice. All right, it's up. Please vote.
Mr. Chair, that motion passes 12-1 with Commissioner Drolet voting no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Fred. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You stay safe and healthy, okay? All right, we're going to move on now to item 7, which is a resolution brought by the county executive, resolution 20-4738. This is approving a county 911 surcharge of 42 cents per month per device. Now, look, do we want to do a motion first and then discussion? I'd like to give Vicky the floor no matter what happens. She has a right to talk on this matter. I think that's only fair. Why don't we listen to what she has to say and then we can do a motion, or if you want, we can do a motion on this. I do want to give everybody a chance to say what they have to say.
Commissioner Hall, I'd like to hear Vicky's.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything to say? I think we want to try to be as
Commissioner Leonetti, Chair Smith.
Yes.
You know, the format, generally speaking, is we make a motion and then we get it on the floor and then everybody gets a chance to talk and the people that have the item get a chance to speak. So I would suggest that you ask for a motion and allow them to speak. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for.
I would like Vicky to have her opportunity to state her case. I think that's only fair. I think we're all going to listen to what she has to say, and then I think we can take a motion after that. I think that's a better way to do it. Just my hunch, and I want to give everybody an opportunity. I'm going to do that. I'm the chair, so I got a little leeway on this. So, Vicky, the floor is yours.
Vice Chair Romano, I agree. I agree, Chair Leonetti. Vice Chair Romano agrees with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead. This is an opportunity for everybody to speak their piece. And Vicky, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon again. Obviously, we're in front of you to seek once again a 42-cent surcharge to fund the dispatch, all the dispatch centers within the county. This is the second year that we are coming to you Technically, this can be an annual review and an annual request. As we did last year, the deadline for us to submit our answer to the state is May 15th, as it was last year. So most of the documents in the packet are very similar to the ones that were submitted to the board last year. There's a copy of our resolution. We have the breakdown per PSAP or 911 dispatch center on the money that we would collect with the 42 cents per month. As has been discussed, it's about $5.04 a year for each cell phone or landline that someone has. Again, this is a countywide initiative. We have to bring it forward as a county. We can't do it by individual PSAP. That is what is written into the law. So it's based on a countywide 911 plan that we have. And then each individual PSAP gets their portion of the money that is collected in the county. And generally that's divided up by population. That's how the money that we currently receive from the state side is divided up. In regards to the 42 cents, and I know there were a couple of questions or comments from the public, the 42 cents is the most that we can ask the Board of Commissioners to approve. Any amount higher than 42 cents would have to go to a vote of the people. So it would not be raised by a commission action to raise anything higher than the 42 cents. Obviously, as a board, you not only have consideration for countywide initiatives, but obviously for our own dispatch center that we operate out of Comtech and with the sheriff's office. So also within your packet is a little more detailed information on what that would look like within the county and what our budget is and what our revenues are that we take in, not only from the 42 cents, but currently from our portion of the state fee, as well as the dispatch contracts that we have are another source of revenue that we take in. Basically for us, our total expenses estimated for next year would be $8.2 million. That includes new positions and funding for capital projects down the road. And our contribution from the general fund would essentially be $2.4 million. With the funds that we bring in, as we discussed last year, there will actually be a savings to our general fund and money that would go back into the general fund. We basically spend it today, but that would go back into the general fund is approximately $805,000. That could be used anywhere else. Again, the 42 cents we collect are specific to dispatch. There's a list in your packet as well. It's outlined by the state what those expenses can be. We cannot deviate from those expenses from the state. There is an audit that is performed every year, obviously internally, but externally by the state as well, that all PSAPs have to file. Next page in the packet talks about the positions we're seeking. Similar to last year, a few things have changed, and most notably in the sheriff's office within the past year. As we've talked before, they're still seeking 4 positions. One is for a deputy that participates in the operating system or CAD system that dispatch uses, as well as a record system that is used by the sheriff's office. And anyone that is dispatched with us and has those services, whether there's local fire departments that are tied into that system, as well as local law enforcement agencies that use that, we need an expert in that area to help. So we're seeking 1 deputy. And then last year they had asked for 3 dispatch supervisors or 3 dispatchers. But this year the sheriff decided with his team that they really need the dispatch supervisors. I know, as has been brought to the attention of the board before, they're short on dispatchers within the center. So the people that have to cover that are deputies within the sheriff's office. So it's not the best planning model to use that you're pulling them from another area. During this COVID crisis, you've heard it in the public, you've heard it from myself, that one of our most precious resources and needed resources are the first responders. And we're highly concerned if they contract COVID along with the healthcare workers, because how do you restaff? So concern here is if you're already taking the personnel from the sheriff's office to serve in dispatch, those people are now not available to go out and service and restaff within the sheriff's office and take on those roles. So that is the idea behind that. We're also seeking really to realign 4 other county positions that are currently within other departments. We have a GIS person from planning that is totally dedicated to dispatch. The system that we run is totally GIS data driven, all about locations. It's a very complicated system that we have. We also have 2 positions within IT that we'd like to have dedicated to dispatch as part of this process. The dispatch services personnel are pulled to other departments based on the model that we have now, but we'd like to have those 2 people from IT dedicated to those positions. And again, the deputy position that I already talked about. So again, the numbers that we're requesting to be part of the dispatch center are essentially the same as last year. Again, it's just a change from 3 supervisors from 3 dispatchers last year to 3 supervisors this year. Again, in the packet is the allowable costs and then essentially the support letters from a multitude of agencies within the county. As has been stated, we are the only county in the state that does not have a dedicated millage, whether it's through the state law that we're asking to use today or through another mechanism within their municipality and their ability to use other statutes. You've heard a lot of the reasons already. You've heard them before. There's equipment, there's personnel needs throughout the county. Again, the dispatch centers that replied put some details of their own within there. And we recognize that this is a hard decision to make. You refer to us many times as the expert in our area. And because of that, we do know all the ins and outs. We know the ins and outs of the job as well as us as leaders and within our positions, what our budgets are and what the budget is of the county and the effects it can have on that and the taxpayers. We also know in these times and even prior that we need to be good fiduciary of the money that we have. And we believe that this is a good way to do that. We know the economic times that we're under now. Our estimation and many others is that it's only going to get worse next year. And this is a way, while it's not a popular way, to not only preserve what we have, but some ways improve that and improve it for the future. And that there's this dedicated pot of money. And when we hit those hard times in the coming years, and we may be looking at layoffs, we may be looking at cutback in services, or putting off equipment or capital projects, that this area of the county, and probably one of the most important, is preserved for years to come. And we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to fight about it. And we don't have to wonder what other pot of money we're taking this from. So the COVID emergency brings that out. The information that dispatchers share with their first responders is critical. Contact, said it before, well known. We have one of the best of the systems out there that we're very thankful for, but we know that there's improvements to be made. There are other dispatch centers that are not in that same boat, and their ways of having information brought into them and then also communicated out are not like ours, and they are very much hampered by that, and hampered by the information they give to their police, fire, and EMS agencies that they need to go out and do their jobs and know what they're approaching before they even get out on scene. I don't think, I think I've covered things in years past, and I don't want to belabor the moment. I know there's other people that would like to comment. And before I leave though, and it's a tough decision, and I know how our resolution is written, but there is an an area that I would like to offer that don't know how to be received, if it's seen as a compromise or something else. But within the statute, and we talked about this last year, again, it's not what we asked for originally, but the board has the ability to have an end date to the surcharge. So the board could initiate the surcharge for 1 year. Again, the surcharge is collected from July 1st of any given year to June 30th. You could approve this year. It would start collecting money July 1st, run through June 30th. You put an end date in the resolution to that effect, and we would come forward as we are today. I think that would give an evaluation period for not only what are the effects of the 42 cents for the departments and get a handle on exactly the money that brings in. Again, the estimates we're using come from the state, so they're good estimates. There's reasoning behind them. But we'll exactly know or have a better idea of what that revenue collects. And in a year, we could come back. We know better what our economic situation is. And if the board feels, we feel that it's too much of a hardship because of what is going on, the resolution next year doesn't, one, if we withdraw it, we wouldn't even bring it to the board. And two, the board could either lower the fee, the 42 cents, or again, not approve it if we bring it back. Very similar thought process, if you will, to the Martha T. Berry 0.1 mil that was approved by the board in this last budget cycle. The amount of that millage that was approved was for a year only. And based on information from that time, cost the average taxpayer $6.60. This is $5.04, very similar amount of money, similar time frame. So we would like to offer that at least as an idea or a thought process that we hadn't talked about before. And just so you know, I know the sheriff is on, and I know the sheriff would like to make some comments. But then I'd also like the commissioners to know, in addition to myself and the sheriff, Angela Elsey, who is the communications administrator for our dispatch center, is present on the line, as well as both Steve Schmiegel and Steve Adair from the finance office. So we do have our normal team in place, if you will, to answer any of your questions. And with that, if the chair allows me, I'd really like to turn it over to the sheriff to make some comments.
Absolutely, Vicki. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your updated information regarding being able to lapse. And certainly, Sheriff Wickersham and anybody else who, is part of your team that wants to talk about this, again, they have leeway here in this committee. So go ahead. Sheriff, you want to come up? Tony?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay. All righty. Well, good afternoon, commissioners. I just wanted to reiterate that you've heard from Debbie Candino, you've heard from Ed Miller, Mike Holland, Sean Cody, and Paul Musinski, all subject matter experts in law enforcement, EMS, and fire. And those individuals, along with myself and my staff, we deal with this on a daily basis. And we truly believe this is something that is needed, something that would help out all of our dispatch centers in providing, again, enhanced service, the best service to those individuals, that when they dial 911, that we're going to be able to answer the call and service them and help them out, and also giving the first responders the best information possible prior to them getting to the call. It also helps for planning purposes for future expenditures. I know that we're talking about the big, the Comtech and then Sarisa, which are the two consolidated. But you've also have City of Richmond, you got Shelby Township, you got the City of Warren that all have PSAP, Centerline, smaller communities that could be coming into hard times and need to update equipment, and this additional funding would help them plan accordingly. So with that, I would just look forward to if you have any questions or your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy out there. Okay. Anybody else, Vicky, from your team that would like to come?
I don't believe so. I think we're just available for questions.
Okay. What I'm going to do, folks, I got a list of people, obviously, that want to talk. Commissioner Carabelli, Vice Chair Carabelli, had wanted to speak to me just before Vicky started talking, and he couldn't unmute his thing. So I got Leon Jolette on first. But Leon, if you would, I would like to let Commissioner Carabelli get on the floor first, as long as he's going to ask questions, as long as there's no motion. I think people should have a right to ask questions before any motion's put on.
Sure. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You don't want to have a motion before you have any questions?
Why don't we ask some questions and then put it to motion? I just think it's better that way.
Okay, then I'll wait for my motion.
Okay. Commissioner Jolette, then you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I don't have questions for Vicky or the sheriff. They've done a good job of explaining what this issue is. I would note, however, in Vicky's presentation, she did acknowledge that $800,000 of this new tax would be taken away, would allow us to shift money into the general fund. So, yes, every penny of the 40-some cents would go into Comtech, and then we would take money that we normally put into Comtech and take it out and use it for other purposes. So it has the lottery shell game element to this. And then there's two reasons, though, we're told that we need to raise this tax. One reason is because we have to stay up to date with equipment, and that's true. And we've been told by Vicki in the past that we have the most updated equipment available on the market today, but that we have to put some money aside for equipment that we know we're going to be needing in the future. So I agree that we should be doing that, but I would encourage our finance department and this board to look for other ways to set that money aside. Right now, we are not doing any traveling. We are not doing any.
Wait. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on. Yes.
Are we making statements or asking questions?
I have statements to make, and I'd like to continue to make them.
Listen. We're going to give leeway. Everybody has a chance to talk. If you have a question, Leon, it would be helpful for the rest of us.
No, I don't have a question. But I have some statements, including a particularly important one.
Okay, that's fine.
So I would like to continue to make my statements, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Sounds
thank you very much.
Lent over there.
I'll wait till everyone's ready.
Chance. Go ahead.
So we could take resources from the conference money that we've appropriated for 2020, the travel money we've appropriated for 2020, conferences we're not attending, places we're not going, set that money aside for future upgrades to the need, for future equipment upgrades. With regard to the personnel, this board passed a budget 12-1 that appropriated every single penny the county executive requested for emergency services and for law enforcement purposes. We didn't cut a dime. Every single penny requested for emergency services, including Comtech, including the sheriff, we appropriated. The executive vetoed that budget. He vetoed that budget, and we had to come back and cut the sheriff's budget and cut emergency services budgets so that money could be redeployed within the budget to enhance salaries and for some other, what were perceived more important needs. If this emergency services was the most important need, we addressed it, and the executive disagreed. He vetoed it. He said, no, we need it for other things. Folks, 1.1 million Michiganders just lost their jobs in the last 5 weeks. The most astounding job loss in the history of Michigan in such a short period of time, probably any period of time. Businesses are collapsing. Yeah, it might $5 a line might not seem like much, but when families have 3 or 4 lines, or businesses have a dozen lines, and they can't even let a customer in their store, this is the absolute worst time to be telling those business owners, to be telling people who are trying to figure out if they're going to be there as a business in 2 weeks, a month, or families that are trying to make their mortgage payments, that this is a time that we're going to raise taxes on them. We don't need to do this now. We can set aside money for future needs, which are future needs for equipment. We have the best equipment available today. We don't have to redeploy that $800,000 back into other areas of the budget. And if that, and we can not impose this tax increase. We funded every single dime requested by the executive when it comes to emergency personnel, every single new person that was requested for Comtech, every single person requested by the sheriff. We funded every dime and it was vetoed. And it was redeployed, and we know where it was redeployed. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Leon. All right, next on the queue is Phil Kraft. Commissioner Kraft, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any questions. I just have a statement too. Is that okay right now?
Yeah, again, I'm going to try to give everybody their chance today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo a little bit of what Commissioner Drollet said. I'm incredibly disappointed and frankly confused why this is coming up right now. If you look at even the state budget, they're going to be $1 billion in the hole based on what has just happened with this coronavirus outbreak. And we want to raise taxes. They're not even looking to raise taxes at the state with that giant shortfall. And we all have other jobs outside of our commissioner responsibilities. And you all know what my job is. I work for a state representative and I deal with constituents on a daily basis. These last 5 weeks have been the most challenging 5 weeks I have had in that office in the almost 4 years that I've been there. And do you know why? Because I've been dealing with hundreds and hundreds of emails and phone calls every single day of people that have been forced to have lost their job based on the coronavirus. They don't have their job. They can't collect unemployment because they're so backed up with unemployment that people are waiting months. And in those months, their bills are lapsing. They can't afford their mortgage. They can't afford their car payments. They can't afford their utility bills. And now we want to tack on another tax. This is extremely unacceptable. I was a no last year, and I'm a hell no this year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Okay, Commissioner Carabelli, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, is it time for a motion?
I have some questions. We can take a motion, certainly. I have some questions for Vicky. If you want to yield so I can ask my questions.
I'll yield to you to ask some questions, and I'd like to make a statement after I make a motion.
Very well. Thank you. Chairman Smith, I'll let you go ahead if you have some questions before I do. Sometimes you ask the same questions I do. Do you want to go ahead?
That's fine, Rob. I don't have any questions. I just have, I'm going to carry on with the comment link.
Okay.
Since it's kind of like we're in comment section at this point on the item.
Yep.
I just want to point out one thing, and this is strictly, how Vicky told us that there was one more option, and the option was to do it for a year and have it have a sunset. Well, I do want to point out to everyone listening that there is one more option that hasn't been addressed, and that is anything over 42 cents, it can be requested. However, that has to go to a vote of the people. And, if we're squeaking at 42 cents to get to it just so the commissioners can make this decision, I say, and I don't necessarily disagree that people, I'm not sure whether people will be for this at this moment or not. I would say in the big scheme of things, without this problem that we're having with the pandemic, that people probably would be for this, right? I mean, it's a very specific tax. It's for something specific, and that seems to be the big problem with a lot of taxes lately. However, I am not sure that this is the time for us 13 to impose this when there is an option to request that it goes on the ballot for 43 cents all the way up to $100, right? I mean, it could go on the ballot, and I still believe we could probably get it to November and see what everybody thinks about this. Because it would be nice for the Comtech and for our future needs. However, I agree with Leon and Phil that we have those needs covered right now. This isn't an immediate need. We will be willing to do any kind of budgetary adjustment that's needed if something comes up unexpectedly. But there is a possibility to ask us to put it on the ballot for 50 cents, say. I just want to point out that there is another option here. So anything over 42 cents has to be voted on the people. Anything up to 42 cents, the commissioners decide. So just for those listening that don't quite understand the the history of this. So that's it. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Some very good points. Vicky, I do have some questions for you. So if you could be available here, that'd be great. It kind of goes along with what Chair Smith was saying a little bit. Are you there, Vicky?
Yes.
You know, Vicky, I'm going to have a little fun. This is a serious issue, but you know what the word transparency means, right? You know what transparency means, right?
Yes.
And we all believe in transparency. There's not a single person that's in this position that doesn't advocate for transparency. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, and it doesn't matter if you're from the executive or the board of commissions. Now, I'm going to have a little fun with this. You know what the word surreptitious means, right? You know what that word means, right?
Yes, but I will say I don't think this is fun.
Okay, I understand.
I think you're being.
I understand. What I'm trying to point out is I'm illustrating something here. At 42 cents, it's something that the commission would do in a way surreptitiously. They would do it without really having a chance for the people to decide that. And it would seem to me exactly what Chair Smith says is the same way I feel. I think this is something that if we did it at 43 cents and put it on the ballot, it might be something that would pass. I don't know what the fear is. And that's my question to you is, why are we afraid to put this on the ballot? And I granted, we're in some unparalleled times right now. It may not be the best time to put it on the ballot, but this is something to me that seems like it would be an easy sell or an easy piece of information to share with the voting public so that they can make an educated decision on what to do with this. I really think that. I really think that with this matter. Is there a reason why we don't want to take that approach?
We can certainly consider that now that we keep being told that 2 times. But again, we're the experts. This is the funding that we want. At one point in time, we're told by commissioners, it's too much that we're giving money back to the general fund for ComTech. It's too much that other PSAPs may be giving money back to the general fund. If we raise it more than 42 cents, that will be even more money going back into the general fund. And to go to your point about transparency and surreptitiousness, again, I'll go back to the Martha T. Berry vote. Where was the transparency on that? And where was the educating of the public? I'm all for what was done and the money set aside for Martha T. Berry. However, the process for going to the board, appearing at meetings that Mr. Evans did is the same process we did last year when economic times were better, and that wasn't good. And then we came back and followed the same process. I've also had a number.
There's one difference, if I may, Vicky. There's one difference in that, and that's a good point. The difference is with Martha T. Berry, we were fully cognizant of the fact that that would only be implemented for 1 year. Just today, this was the first time that you informed us that this thing, at least from my knowledge, that this thing would have a sunset provision as well, that it would only be in place for 1 year. And that portion of it intrigues me. That intrigues me. And that's the difference between Martha T. Berry and with this one right here. That's my take on it. That's my
I explained that last year that the board could put a date on it. Our request was not that a date be put on it last year.
Okay. Now, the other question I have for you is this. Certainly we're in unparalleled times. And the thing I like to know is, I mean, we're going to get a lot of data after this, and we're going to have a lot of information. And we've already known we spent $2 million from the county to deal with this COVID crisis. So there's no doubt that, money is necessary. I guess my question is, wouldn't it be safer to have that data and make a decision on this after we have that data rather than doing it in the middle of this pandemic? It certainly would seem to me like it would be something that would be more information if it's going to be the commission or if it's going to be the public to be able to make that call on, boy, this 911 dispatch stuff is really needed. It really came through in the pandemic. Here's what the data showed us. This stuff really worked. We needed some upgrades, some stuff we found out that we needed during the pandemic we didn't have, and now we need. It just seems to me like that would be the more appropriate time to do it. I want to make this clear. I'm not against your goal at all. It's the means in which the goal is trying to be attained that we have some differences. And whenever we have differences, we can always try to reach some type of compromise. So I guess my question to you on that is, doesn't it seem like there might be another time when we have more data that this information, that it'll help us in making this decision based on this unparalleled epidemic?
No, because I believe we have sufficient data and that we've proved that in coming to you in the past 2 years. Even in the past 2 years, the 911 surcharge that we've asked for is not a new concept. It was the thought process of, okay, should we do this? Held off on some years because we were aware, and then getting to a point where, okay, there are many dispatch needs in the county. And again, for the sake of CommTech, we've been blessed in many ways. We've also had a lot of hard work put behind people that found basically $8 million worth of grant funds and other funding that the county did not have to put forward from our general fund. There are smaller dispatch centers that do not have this. We get wrapped up in knowing that this is talking about CommTech, and obviously part of me understands that. But you cannot lose sight for those other dispatch centers in the county that have grave needs at this point in time, and that can't communicate in the same way that we can with people that not only call into our center, but with the information that goes back out to the first responders.
Well, there's no doubt you guys have done a great job with CommTech. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. I guess you've answered my questions, and I don't really have any statements to make. I just had questions, and you've answered them, and I feel we've gotten some information today. So at this point, I'm looking for any other speakers on this issue, any other commissioners that would like to talk about this issue.
This is Commissioner Haw. I should be on your list, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you're not for whatever reason, Commissioner Haw. But go ahead. You have the floor.
I haven't been on because I've been mad.
Wow. Somebody's phone's ringing in.
Commissioner Haw, are you there? That might have been your phone. Commissioner Haw? Commissioner Haw. Mike, can we get a hold of Commissioner Haw and find out what the deal is?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now. Go ahead, Commissioner Haw.
Thank you. I think what's being dismissed in a lot of the conversation is the wonderful, fantastic job that's taking place with Vicki and her team. And some of the points that she has made is we are the only county in the state without a surcharge or a millage dedicated to support 911. The proposal has been endorsed by police, fire, and first responder organization in the county, up to and including who you heard speak today is the Roseville Fire Chief, the Roseville City Manager, and a resolution passed by the Roseville City Council, where I was the former mayor. She's also indicated the funds will be shared among all dispatch centers in the county. I don't want my colleagues to dismiss the fact that this is just not CommTech. This is Warren, Harrison Township, Roseville, Fraser, St. Clair Shores, CommTech, plus others. And the funds can't be used anywhere else. This 911 dispatch center is the lifeline of information to the first responders. Having the best information.
Should I do it now again?
Hold on, Marv. You're there, Marv, but Commissioner Haw has the floor.
I'll repeat the last sentence. Having the best information available before reaching the scene saves lives and times. We keep talking about these are unprecedented times. I agree with that wholeheartedly. As we had this issue before us 11 months ago, when economic times were better, it was voted down then. At this particular time, the $5 surcharge, when I thought I read recently that Sprint and Verizon were indicating they were even going to allow deferment of payments on the phone, it's just the timing. It just makes it very difficult to support. But we, as a board, know kicking this can down the road doesn't make it go away. There is an issue here. We've had the experts talk to us. We've had reams of data on the need for this surcharge to protect the lives and safety of the residents of Macomb County. It's going to be very difficult, as said, to vote for this at this particular time, especially when I have my fire chief, my city manager, and a resolution from the council in Roseville supporting it. So I just want to bring those points to the table for clarification and for future consideration, and I await the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, now I have Commissioner Kleinfeld on my list, and I know Commissioner Sauger's been trying to talk, but I'm going to go ahead to Commissioner Kleinfeld. Go ahead. Veronica, if you're there, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
As you all know, I not only supported this, but I strongly supported it last year, and I still support the concept. I'm getting inundated from residents that can't get through on the unemployment and aren't getting checks, and they're desperate, and I feel their stress, and I think putting something on it on top of that right now when they're already stressed to the max is something I just feel like I can't do to them. But I know that they can't, they're going to miss this deadline. I understand that. I would not wait until the right before the deadline to bring it back to us. I do want to remind administration that it only failed by one vote last time, and to keep that in mind. But my residents are crying out right now, and I have to listen to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Some good points. Commissioner Sauger, I know you were trying to come in. Can you *6 yourself if you want to talk? Or unmute yourself? Go ahead.
You got me on?
Yes, I do, Marv. Go ahead.
Okay, all I can say, and I honestly say this for all the commissioners listening and their families, I hope those that vote against this proposal never have to use 911. It's so vital for every one of us. And to say 42 cents, I mean, forget that. We all throw that kind of money away. But if you vote no, I hope you never have to use 911. And thank you.
Thanks, Marv. All right, Commissioner Romano, go ahead. Joe, are you there? Floor is yours.
Hear me?
Yes, I can, Joe. Go ahead.
I'm somewhat inclined to go, not somewhat inclined, I'm totally inclined to go along with what Commissioner Kleinfeld said. I too have been inundated with calls from residents, and it's like that last straw on the camel's back. The next thing they're going to read in the Macomb Daily is the county commissioner's okay a tax hike. I'm sorry, I just can't swallow it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Romano. Anybody else, any other commissioners want to talk about this item? Commissioner Lucido, go ahead. Commissioner Lucido, you're, go ahead. Hi.
Can you hear me, Rob? Okay,
yes,
good.
I can. Go ahead.
I agree with Commissioner Romano and Commissioner Kleinfeld. I too have had numerous phone calls from people who can't get through to unemployment, who can't, they're living off of nothing right now, and begging us, don't put another tax on us right now. I do support the 42% tax, 42 cent tax, but I can't do it right now. If anything, I would support, it's being a little bit more and going to a vote for the people. If the people chose that they wanted to do that, I would be okay with that, obviously. But I myself, as one of 13, don't feel that I can make a decision for the whole county when so many people are in desperate times right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Liz. Any other commissioners want the floor? Anybody else? Okay. Commissioner Carabelli, you still out there?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to deny the 911 surcharge of 49 cents per month.
Motion by
Drollet,
Commissioner
support.
Carabelli, support.
And I'd like
Support.
Who was the support from?
Don Brown.
Okay, support by Don Brown. Now, Commissioner Carabelli did reserve some statements. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I want to be really frank about this. At the end of the day, I did not support the 911 surcharge the previous time. And that was due to the fact that we had an issue with the jail that had to be funded, and I thought the timing was terrible. And I know that this is a timing issue. I think this is the last chance she has to put it on for this year, if I'm not mistaken, and Vicki can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But in light of all the comments that were said by other commissioners and some of the residents that called and emailed, and I understand the positives of this, but when we were, the numbers that were thrown out here, let's go through them again. We had back on April 2nd, 1 in 10 workers filed for unemployment. As of today, 24% of our working force is filed for unemployment. We have paid, the government has paid just under 1 million people $1 billion out of the state of Michigan in unemployment. And there's a lot of people that aren't getting it. And a lot of small businesses aren't getting the small business relief that was promised. As we look at this, I understand Vicki and the work that they're doing, and it makes all the sense to me. But again, the comments of other commissioners, it's the timing. And I think it'd be irresponsible today for us to approve this under the circumstances that all the residents are in today and where we're going to be tomorrow. So with that, I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
All right. We have a motion on the floor. However, I do have Commissioner Myjack that just checked in. Go ahead, Commissioner Myjack. Thank you, Commissioner Carabelli.
Yes, thank you. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. My name is Robert Myjack. For folks who don't know me or are listening, I'm from the Sterling Heights area. I want to thank all of those members of the public who participated in public participation and who took your time to phone call, commissioners, email, to express your opinion on this. That's what democracy is about. I also want to thank our staff for working through this meeting via the internet and the phone. So thank you for that. I agree basically with what Commissioner Carabelli just said. I'll be voting no on this project. It's still similar to what it was my understanding a year ago. I don't feel I have a good understanding of what it's for and how it's going to be spent. Last year, the way I looked at this, commissioners, was that, and I've said this before, that we have very limited income out there for people in Macomb County because wages are very stagnant, over the last 10 years. And you have to pick and choose, I guess, what type of tax or what type of new service you want to try to implement, And one of the examples I gave is I thought roads a year ago was maybe a higher priority than, say, the jail or the 911 surcharge. That's just coming from me. But given everything that's happened now, this COVID thing, this absolutely changes everything, And certainly, yes, the economy is just getting killed. I want everybody to think about this, that it took 3 years from the Great Recession 10 years ago. It took 3 years to reach 16 million unemployed people. Okay? And as of right now, I just checked online, United States of America right now has 26 million people unemployed, which I believe is about 16% unemployed, and 1.6 million unemployed in Michigan. So, every penny really means a lot, and that's why commissioners, and I don't mean to repeat myself again, but I've been, very opinionated on people's wages. That's why I brought up that resolution. With the minimum wage right now is $9.50. It could have been $10 an hour. It's an extra 50 cents. If people's wages over the years go up, then when you're talking about a new tax or a new proposal, that could be more affordable to the public. Okay, but when people's wages are stagnant, and as you've heard from the public participation, what they said today, people are hurting. And so long-term wise, I'm just going to say this: we have to deal with this COVID thing, everything that goes along with that. We have to look at the county budget as it relates to a deficit and all the spending that's been going on to the COVID. And then we have to think about the jobs and the economy. Those are the three key issues us commissioners are going to have to look at going forward. And I apologize for going on this a little bit. I just want to give everybody a macro perspective, something that I think about, not only on this item that we're talking about, but potential other issues going forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Okay, any other commissioners want to speak? Anybody else? Okay, there's a motion.
Mr. Chair, could you clarify the motion, please?
Yes, I sure can.
Thank
There's a motion on the floor to deny the resolution. So your yes vote would be to deny the resolution. Your no vote would be to deny the motion. Motion on the floor. Once again, the motion is to deny resolution 20-4738.
Mr. Chair, that motion passes 11-2 with Commissioners Duje and Stauger voting.
Okay, thank you very much. Very tough issue. I want to thank everybody's comments. I want to thank everybody's presentations. It's not going to go away. It's going to come back, and we're going to have to reach a compromise on it, and I think we can. It's just, unfortunately, I think, as a lot of commissioners pointed out, it's just the times right now are so unparalleled. So we'll get there. We work together. We'll figure this out for everybody's benefit. All right, we're going to move on now to new business. Is there any new business? Any new business from any commissioners out there? Any new business by any commissioners? Okay. We're going to move on now to public participation.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Yes.
We have Commissioner Kleinfeld for new business.
I'm sorry, Veronica. I didn't see that. I'm getting weary. Go ahead, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
That's okay. Thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know that the MAC board formally voted not to have my presidency end at the end of the year. It will be extended another year due to the pandemic. That's a first. It's never happened before. And we had a meeting with the governor yesterday. My one job was to introduce her, and the administrator accidentally muted me during my introduction. But other than that, it was a really nice discussion, and commissioners got to ask her questions. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Keep up the good work over there. All right. Any other business? I hear somebody there. Is that Chairman Smith for new business?
I think that was Commissioner Brown didn't unmute him or muted himself.
Okay. Commissioner Haw, do you have any new business?
No, sir, I don't.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners with new business? Okay. We're going to now move on to the second round of public participation. This gives anybody 5 minutes of time on the floor to discuss anything they feel like. So we'll do the same thing we did before. We're going to start with people on the phone. If there's any folks on the phone, you're going to hit *6 to unmute yourself and introduce your name and your city, and you'll have 5 minutes.
May I speak, please?
Yep, go ahead. State your name and city again.
Thank you, sir. I'm Jasmine Early, speaking again from Sterling Heights. I just want to say thank you to all of the commissioners who put in mind, who took our opinion, who respected and saw with your heart about this. I know it is not an easy decision. I know it doesn't mean that we don't support law enforcement. It doesn't mean we don't support those who serve us. But at this moment was a wise and considered decision from your part. Thank you for denying the resolution. On behalf of the Sterling Heights and Macomb County residents, from my heart, I say thank you. And I please stay safe, healthy, and take care of yourself. Have a nice rest of the week.
All right. Thank you very much. Stay safe and healthy. All right. Again, on the phone, anybody wishes to speak, please unmute yourself. *6.
Yes.
Go ahead. State your name and your city, please.
Sure thing. John Parkinson, Macomb Township. I'd like to say thank you to the board for hearing those of us who asked you to vote no on this agenda item. Let me do this. And then I'd like to say to the gentleman who spoke and said that I hope you don't have to call 911 if you vote this down. We pay for this service in property taxes. And furthermore, when wages go up, by the other gentleman's all accounts, said when wages go up, it doesn't mean that taxes should go up. The city of Detroit runs on a shoestring budget, and they seem to do it. Even though it's not exactly efficient, they do it. You, the Board of Commissioners, and the county executive need to find a way to make a budget that will not keep increasing taxes on the residents you serve. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Stay safe and healthy. Okay. Again, on the phone, anybody wants to talk, *6 and state your name and your city. Anybody else on the phone?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, my name is, let me turn my radio down.
That would help.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Michaeline Buchak, and I am from East Point, Michigan. I'm a 30-year plus resident here, and there's nothing else to do during the coronavirus shut-in, closing, except to maybe learn about politics, and one of these days I'll get to read our East Point charter as well. Okay, so this issue of 42 cents, that is referred to as a surcharge. I have 3 questions for that and then a comment real quick. Where would this surcharge show up on our phone bill, water bill, our taxes? And number 2, when did this issue first arise? What year, what month? I just learned just now that there was an increase on this issue last year. And let's see. Oh, the big question. Would this apply, do you know, to all the counties of Michigan? And then my comment is, I'm in support of it, but not at this time. I'm retired, and I understand how great it is, our firemen, our policemen, our EMS people. I've had to use them in the past, how wonderful they are. And yes, not at this time, though. I don't think, I'm so glad that the commissioners did vote it down at this time. But in the future, absolutely. Thank you, and that's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stay safe. All right.
Thank
next
you,
on
too.
the phone. Okay, Eric Castaglia. Go ahead, Mr. Castaglia. Go ahead. You there? Yeah, Eric, you there? I'm trying to get Eric Castaglia, if I'm saying this right, Castaglia. Go ahead.
There we go. It just
there
let me
you go.
in. How are you? My name's Eric Castaglia, and as you know, I've been a voice pushing on this last time and this time. I think it's a horrible time to do this to the residents. And as the research shows that I've been pulling from other counties, we in Sterling Heights, closed our 911. We were supposed to get savings. And we sent it to the county so we could bring other counties together and other cities together. Where is that money gone? And we're going to get paid when we were trying to get away from getting taxed on this. Now we're getting taxed on it just a different way. And I applaud everybody who voted no. We will be working diligently to inform the public on this as it comes up next year. And we will be putting resources to get it, mailers out and everything else to compete with the doom and gloom that guy said. A shame on him for saying, I'm a COVID survivor. I'm glad I just need it. The ambulance came and Sterling Heights treated me amazing, said the hospital. And for him to say that needs to be everywhere on social media starting today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Stay safe. All right. Next on the queue, anybody, any other phone people? Are there any other phone people? If it doesn't appear to be, if you are on the phone, you have to do *6 to unmute yourself. Go ahead. Go ahead. Daryl Smith.
I'm on video. Can I speak? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
I just want to make a statement to the board about the coronavirus shutdown. This has been really a terrible hardship on all the people of Macomb County, as everybody I think on the board is aware of. But there's also been some data coming out recently, a Stanford study of 3,300 people, showing a certain number of infected persons and how do I want to phrase this? Forecasts a fatality rate of only about 2.2%. And Governor Cuomo today released some preliminary data, 3,000 people that were tested in New York City, indicating that 20% of the New York City population has already been infected. And that makes the effective death rate in New York City from coronavirus about 0.5%. Now, these shutdown activities that we've been taking have assumed a much higher fatality rate than what we're actually seeing. So I would like to urge the board to, if possible, and I understand that the county only has so much say-so in the shutdown activities, but I would urge the board to, if at all possible, to try to gather its own data via antibody testing and to try to get an idea of what the exact fatality rate is with this virus here in Macomb County. I read today that 493 people have died from the virus so far. If the fatality rate is 0.5%, if the fatality rate is 0.5%, that means we've already had about 98,000 of our 700,000 persons infected, about 12%. If the fatality rate is closer to the 2% that Stanford thinks, that would mean that we've already had almost 200,000 people infected, which would mean we're very far down the line towards herd immunity. And I think that if we can get some data showing a much lower fatality rate, we have, how do I want to phrase it? We have data that can justify opening up quicker and more quickly stopping these rather crushing shutdown rules that have been enforced on us. You know, I'd like to remind people that, and if nobody knows this, 2.8 million Americans die every year of all causes. 2.8 million Americans had their last Easter. So this means that most people in Michigan are people who are going to die in Michigan had their last Easter and weren't able to spend it with their extended family if they were following the shutdown rules. So there's a real human cost to this shutdown. It's not just dollars and cents. So I would urge the board to do what it can to develop data that would justify ending it. And obviously, I don't think it should be ended if the data doesn't justify it. But I think that when the data is gathered, it will. And thus, I urge the board to begin to gather this data and do what it can to end this tremendously difficult shutdown period, which has obviously been tremendously expensive to all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Stay safe.
Yeah.
JP Rhea, come on up. Public participation.
Commissioners, if you can hear me, John Paul Rea, 57594, Washington Township, Michigan, 48094. How's everyone doing today?
Good. Go ahead, JP.
Hey, I just wanted to remind everyone that's on the line that all of our information and data is readily available at macombgov.org. If you go directly to the county's homepage, we are updating county-specific metrics on an hourly basis, not only with our health departments, our epidemiologists, and our virologists. We very much understand all of the sensitivities as we are fielding dozens of calls on a daily basis, not only from local businesses and citizens with regards to the stay-at-home order, and hoping to coordinate that on a day-in, day-out basis with public safety personnel and also with first responders. I think some of these statistics that we're starting to see undoubtedly make it a sobering reality that this is going to be a longer fight than any of us would have thought when we started this entire process. As we sit here today in Macomb County, there's over 4,700 cases of coronavirus throughout Macomb County, and there's 483 deaths. That puts our death rate over 10%. These are daunting statistics which our first responders and our healthcare professionals face every single day. And day in, day out, there is tireless work being done by county employees and municipal employees to not only combat this virus, but use sound science and strategic response and limited resources to put us in the best position to protect our community at whole. So again, we ensure that the most responsible set of information and data is readily available at macombgov.org. And if any residents or citizens, business owners, or local individuals or advocates on either side of this conversation to not only be a part of this, but to understand how it's impacting each of our residents and businesses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for public participation? If you wish to speak, unmute your application and state your name and your city. Anybody else?
Hi.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Olson.
All right, how's it going? All right, I'm giving a quick call. I heard Fred on there from the clerk's office. I applaud Fred. You know, we had Karen Sprangler there last year. She's what, going to jail now. It's good for that. I'm glad to see that. I did want to talk about the federal licensing, a federally illegal licensing scheme going on in Macomb County. I don't understand how y'all elected officials and everybody else leave people like Karen Sprangler in charge of signing off on medical marijuana ordinances and licenses. All federally illegal. Doesn't even make sense. You guys want us to protect a law, uphold your laws, follow your codes. Why you just make them up as you go along, sell weed and shit. So it's a little bit confusing. I wouldn't be surprised if the cops come and bust hundreds of people in Macomb County. I mean, after all trash and things like that, got what, 30 arrests in Macomb County? How many arrests are we going to be looking at with all these weed stores popping up on Main Street? I just don't get it. How much time do I have total? So in
Crystal?
2012,
Crystal,
in
how much
2012, go ahead.
Crystal, how much time does he have?
He is at 1 minute 20 seconds out of 5 minutes total.
Okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. All right, so yeah, as a lot of people know, a lot of people don't know. 2012, I was busted, Clinton Township. Our Attorney General, Bill Schuette, directed all the prosecutors just to keep reining in that drug war money, just keep attacking all the families, keep taking their money. We all know they're unregulated statewide. Smith ain't the only prosecutor in the state with an unregulated fund. He's just the first one that went on. So we all know that. It's very disturbing. But needless to say, coming out of Clinton Township, where Bob and Eric's dad was the chief for many years, who actually instituted the civil asset forfeiture sharing program. A expert, I would say. You know, a lot of retired government officials turn on and will get some kind of consulting deals, use their expertise to make some money. I would like to wonder if you had consulted Eric in this. If Eric did have a little bit of jump start in all families. So needless to say, 2012 comes around. Prosecutors directing all the police to go and arrest everybody with weed cards. For what? Steal our money, obviously. Keep the courts full, obviously. You know, I've been screaming from the beginning. This is racketeering. This is a criminal enterprise. Who cares? About 2014, after I done my conviction, you know, I did what, 180 days in jail, $65,000 bond for selling an ounce. While you guys are telling me that the AMMA is licensed in Warren. Well, they're not. They actually accused me of running a shop not licensed at the prosecutor's office when there is a state license bill. Everybody knows a license scheme is just a hustle. We all know that. Y'all. So I began attacking my conviction about 2014. Became a victim of color law abuse, color law attack. You know, Smith and these guys don't want people turning up there stealing all this. So around 2018, Clinton Township and Smith set me up, charged me with cases that give me double life. They say I'm stalking law enforcement, stalking first responders. Ridiculous. Putting them out there on Front Street as usual. That never happened. They say I came to my probation officer's house in Clinton Township. I'm sorry, in Grosse Pointe Woods, and started a fight with her husband. Funny thing was, I was talking on the television like I am right now in Virginia. They lied. They put a bunch of bogey charges on me, tried to put me up to 40 years in prison. Extradited me, militarized raids in 2 states, got attacked, in the process. I'm not very happy about it. When I get home, cases drop to a misdemeanor. Smith pays $3,000 to prison transport services. It's all a real big joke. I'm not very happy about it. Smith's criminal enterprise continued, doing whatever he wants. After that, when I got home and made bond, he puts posters up all over the county buildings, locks me up all over the county buildings. Well, guess what? This is August 2018 I'm talking about. At the same time, Smith and Hackle started their big old fight. 2-3 months before that, the feds came to Clinton Township and took my file. Came to Macomb County, took my shot file. Came to all y'all, took my file. But y'all just let him. I'm talking in 5 minutes. How much?
You're at your 5-minute limit.
No warning whatsoever.
Well, we can't, Mr. Olson, I can't go more than 5 minutes. Mr. Olson, I can't let you go more than 5 minutes. I try to be consistent on that. We even gave you a little extra time for the break, okay?
Does that count my interruption?
I think she paused it for your interruption. So I can't, if I give you more than 5 minutes, I have to give everybody else more than 5 minutes. And I can't do that. I have to be fair. You can understand that.
Well,
okay. All right.
Warn them.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else for public participation? Public participation. If you wish to speak, unmute. Anybody? I hear somebody there. Public participation going once. Is there somebody on the phone here that would like to talk? No? Okay. If you wish to speak, please unmute the app. State your name, state your city, and begin. Okay. If I don't hear everybody, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to go public participation going once, going twice, going third time. No public participation. At this point, it looks like Harold.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, I actually had Harold Haw already on that. So Harold Haw, I assume you want to make
Adjourn.
Yeah.
Wait,
Supported by Duche.
Hey,
Take care, everybody. Stay safe and healthy out there.
all right, you all too.
COVID.
Thanks much. Well, I wanted to say, Joe, welcome back.